Welcome to year number 5 of Pitt to the Point. I'm Nick Bennick.
And I'm Farah Hindawi. Pitt to the Point is your weekly 1-hour Emmy Award-nominated news and magazine program that airs live from the state-of-the-art Pitt studios.
Pitt to the Point covers everything from the University of Pittsburgh to the City of Pittsburgh, as well as national and international events, news, people, and stories.
We're back with your favorite segments, such as Alumni Spotlight and Clubbing at Pitt, which showcases one of our amazing student-run clubs here.
We'll feature some stories from our incredible University of Pittsburgh regional campuses and tell you the top headlines from our neighborly journalist in arms, the Pitt News.
Now we're statewide, from Pittsburgh to Lancaster to Philadelphia.
And of course, we'll continue to bring you the most up-to-date news from around the world of politics, sports, business and technology, medicine, and entertainment in the city of Pittsburgh, as well as the University of Pittsburgh.
At the start of this baseball season, victory was bestowed on the Pittsburgh Pirates as they won 8-3 against the Cardinals.
Well, today, the Buccos have their opening game against the Baltimore Orioles at PNC Park.
The team had a little bit of a rough start, with O'Neal Cruz struggling in center field and Paul Skeens having a shaky first outing in previous games.
PNC Park is also planning on dazzling fans with new features, from Bucco bricks to chipped hand fries being added to the menu.
To be young and successful before having a mortgage or even getting smile lines.
Well, you're going to love this. At just 19 years old, Connor Griffin is planning to make his MLB debut during the Pirates' home opener today against the Baltimore Orioles. Griffin was drafted 9th overall out of high school and darted towards the MLB in just under 2 years. Reports say he'll be playing shortstop in his debut, and keep in mind that debuting as a teenager is extremely rare in the MLB.
But this isn't just another rookie call-up. No. It's one of the biggest prospect debuts in years, especially for Pittsburgh. Connor Griffin could quickly become the team's long-term solution at the position, so much so that the Pirates gave him a 9-year, $140 million contract, making him the highest-paid Pirate ever without ever playing a single game. To hear more about this season, let's batter up our City Sports reporter, Colin Ferguson, live from PNC Park. Colin?
Good morning and welcome to the North Shore here in Pittsburgh. I'm standing just outside of PNC Park underneath the statue of the legendary Bill Mazeroski. Now, unfortunately, Maz did pass on just this past offseason. The Pittsburgh Pirates are prepared to honor him starting tonight. Mazeroski's friends and family will be present for the opening pitch of tonight's ball game, and the Buccos will be debuting number 9 patches on their jerseys and the Maz scripture right underneath the legendary P right out in center field. All of this and more will be seen for the very first time as PNC Park opens its doors tonight for the start of the 2026 season against the Baltimore Orioles.
Lau, the lefty hitter, one of the new acquisitions for the Pirates, hit 31 homers last year for Tampa Bay.
And Lau on a first pitch breaking ball sends a fly ball out to the corner. It's the rookie Carson Benj leaping, and no, that one goes. Brandon Lau on the first pitch he sees as a Pirate has hit a 2-run homer.
The first home run in the major leagues in 2026 belongs to the new Pirate Brandon Lau.
It's the start of a beautiful spring in the city of Pittsburgh, which can only mean one thing. Major League Baseball is returning to the Steel City. The Pittsburgh Pirates have opened the season with a series loss against the Mets and a series win versus the Reds, placing them at 3-3 as they prepare to host the Baltimore Orioles for their first home series of the year tonight. It was a rough start to the year for reigning Cy Young winner Paul Skeens, who opened his season in Citi Field against the Mets, though failed to make it out of just the first inning, allowing 5 runs to the 9 batters he faced.
Lost him on ball 4.
Impressive.
2 walks, 2 full counts among the first 5 batters that Skeens has faced, and I don't know that we saw this at any point over 32 starts last year from Skeens.
However, some of the blame has fallen to the defensive woes of the Bucs, namely in center field, where O'Neal Cruz calls home. It's been an up and down year for Cruz, who is struggling in the field, but also has managed to knock in a team-leading 3 home runs in just his last 2 outings.
Oh my. Fly ball, right center field, and O'Neal Cruz with his first Cruz missile of the year. Off the lefty, Brandon Williamson. Cruz crushes it. Pirates get the run back. They lead 6-1.
The success of the bat has not stopped there, as offseason additions Ryan O'Hearn and Brandon Lau have been outstanding to start the 2026 campaign. O'Hearn has opened the year with a staggering .421 batting average, and that alongside his 6 RBIs lead the roster. Lau has tied Cruz with 3 homers on the year, including back-to-back in his first 2 at-bats this season. Lau and O'Hearn both got days off to rest Wednesday against the Reds and will be fresh for tonight's home opener. The Pirates are preparing starting pitcher Mitch Keller for the home opener Friday against Baltimore. Keller started against the Mets in Game 2, pitching 6 innings, striking out 3, and holding the blue and orange scoreless, which is something he will have to repeat against a potent Baltimore offense. All of this has given the Pittsburgh faithful plenty to be excited for as the Buccos start their first home series of the year, as PNC Park is already sold out in preparation for the Pirates' first homestand of a long 162-game season.
Well, the weather may not be ideal at the current moment in time. It should not get in the way of tonight's 4:12 p.m. estimated opening pitch, with Mitch Keller projected to be the starter for the Pirates tonight. From Pitt to the Point, I'm City Sports reporter Colin Ferguson. And now we'll send it back to Oakland, where I hear you guys have a professional Pirates player waiting in the wings. Nick, Fada?
Thank you, Colin, for covering all the bases with the story, but we're not done with baseball just yet. At Pitt to the Point, we don't like throwing any curveballs with our sports reporting. Live from the studio just ahead of the game today, please welcome a man with many titles, MLB broadcaster, former pitcher, and musician Stephen Brault. Hey, Stephen.
Hi, guys. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
It's great to have you on. I'd like to start off with the first question. So, Stephen, as a former MLB pitcher, can you explain to us what makes Paul Skeens so dominant? Do you expect him to be this good only 2 years into his career?
Nobody expects anybody to be this good early in their career. You know, he's already won the NL Rookie of the Year. He's won the Cy Young. If you ask him, the only thing he cares about now is winning baseball games and winning a World Series. And you know what? I think the Pirates have a really good chance to do it. But no, you can never expect anybody to be this good ever in their career, let alone this early. It's amazing to watch. The fact that he had one bad start to start the year was like mind-blowing because it's the first time that he's actually struggled in a game. But then, of course, he went 5 shutout innings against the Reds just the other day. So he's back. He's good.
Definitely a player to keep an eye on. So to kind of get a Pittsburgh focus, the Pirates have brought up the #1 prospect in baseball, Connor Griffin. How should the Pirate fans react to this huge development, do you believe?
Well, let me ask you guys a quick question. How old are you?
Oh, I'm 22.
I'm 20.
Yeah, Connor Griffin, he's 19 years old, okay? And he's about to make his major league debut. He is an unparalleled talent. We haven't seen a teenager get up to the major league since Juan Soto did it. And then before that, it was 1999, the last time it happened. It's a crazy thing that the Pirates are doing, bringing him up so early, but he has shown that he's ready. I mean, he made the minor leagues look like Little League last year as an 18-year-old, and now this year in spring training, he did the same thing. And so, you know what? He's ready to go. I love that they're giving him his debut in opening day in PNC Park so that Pirates fans can be there and be present for this first game that is going to be hopefully the first of a lot in a Pirates uniform. And I mean, we're talking like Barry Bonds, Andrew McCutchen, you know, these types of talents that we haven't seen in Pittsburgh on the position player side since that very young Andrew McCutchen. And so it's extremely exciting. He can hit for power. He can hit for contact. He is extremely fast. He stole 65 bases in the minor leagues last year. He has an incredibly strong arm, and he plays great defense. What every baseball player dreams of being, the 5-tool player, that is Connor Griffin to a T.
Well, bless him. I definitely wasn't doing that at 19.
I was not either.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna start now. You've had a very successful transition to the broadcasting booth. Tell us any of the challenges that you've encountered with that transition of moving from the field as a player to the booth, and what has surprised you the most, of course.
I would say the biggest challenge is getting on the other side of the game and looking at it through a different lens. As a player, you kind of know, obviously, you know what your job is. Your job is to go out. For me, I was a pitcher. I just go get outs. It's a very simple thing. It's not easy, but it's simple. As a broadcaster, you got to put yourself out there. You guys, I mean, you know how it is. It's kind of nerve-wracking. You want to sound smart. You don't want to say something wrong. You don't want to make a mistake. And all that stuff, as you get into it, you get more used to it. But I think that the biggest challenge for me in broadcasting was just not sounding like an idiot. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I mean, that's what it came down to for me. And something that really surprised me, I didn't know how specific everything is. I mean, countdowns, right? Everything is down to the second. Everything is recorded and sent to a certain way. And it's like, all right, well, now we have 11 seconds left before we go to break. And I've hosted shows. I'm doing that this year again. And what I didn't realize was, oh yeah, you just have somebody saying, okay, you have 10 seconds, and they're counting down in your ear as you're trying to get off of TV. And while you're hearing people still talking, and once again, not sounding like an idiot. So it's a lot of fun, but it is a little bit more hectic and stressful, I think, than people realize, with everything that's going on in your head while you're still trying to get your point out. But it's fun.
Yeah, I think a lot of us really resonate with the not sounding like an idiot part. Imposter syndrome is pretty common in the broadcasting world.
I'm still working on that part myself.
Oh, yeah. But back in 2018, you were a pitcher for the Pirates, and you had the honor of singing the national anthem before the start of a game, which was a very special moment for the fans. What was that like for you? And most importantly, can we expect to see an encore from you?
Oh, well, probably at some point, as long as I'm still working for the Pirates. I actually sang it 2 years ago, my first year broadcasting. I came back and sang it again, this time not in uniform. I was in a Sportsnet Pittsburgh polo. But, it was more nerve-wracking, honestly, than probably my major league debut. There's something, obviously, when you sing in front of a bunch of people, you want to sound great and all that. But the other part of it for me was I was wearing a Pirates uniform. I knew that if I messed it up, it was going to be a huge story because, let's be honest, reporting on people messing up is often more fun than reporting on people doing well. Unfortunately, that's just the way of the world. And so it was very nerve-wracking, but it was something I really wanted to do. My late grandma, her whole thing was she wanted me to sing the national anthem in a big league game before I played in a big league game. And so I wanted to make sure I got that done, and I did, and it was really fun. And I'm really glad the Pirates let me do it.
Well, that's wonderful, Stephen. And just one more thing, where can fans get your music or see you perform?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So I have a few albums out. I released a Broadway cover album a few years ago. That was what I sang in college. I was a vocal performance major. I did Broadway and opera and classical and all that stuff. And so now I do have a Broadway album. You can search it. It's called A Pitch at Broadway because we love puns. I also I will be performing with the Pittsburgh Youth Chorus this year. I did last year. They have a gala, and this year will be on June 2nd, and it's a place where we're able to raise as many funds for the Pittsburgh Youth Chorus as we can. It's a great organization, getting singers from all over Pittsburgh to come together and join and sing together, and I'm very excited about that. Also, the Clarks will be performing at that event, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and that will be on, once again, June 2nd. Go look up Pittsburgh Youth Chorus online, and you can take a look at it.
Well, best of luck with that endeavor, Stephen. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Stephen.
Thank you guys for having me. You guys have a good one.
You too. Looking ahead to the rest of April, the Pittsburgh Pirates will be playing home field against the Baltimore Orioles, the San Diego Padres, the Washington Nationals, the Tampa Bay Rays before ending the month against the St. Louis Cardinals.
And let's not forget about the away games, where the Pirates will be playing against the Chicago Cubs, the Texas Rangers, and the Milwaukee Brewers. What a packed program. So make sure to check your schedules and not to miss a game.
But look out yonder. PNC Park is not the only place prepping for today.
That's right. Ahead of the draft, North Shore is buzzing with restaurants and activities. For more, we have business and tech reporter David Cook. David?
Spring has sprung, and the home opener is finally here. Fans from all over the country are flocking to the North Shore to check out the Pittsburgh Pirates playing the Baltimore Orioles. Let's check out just a few of the activities around the North Shore, including one brand new establishment just steps away from PNC Park. With so much hype around the Pittsburgh Pirates opening day and spring weather finally making its presence known, baseball fans will be out in force today and this weekend all over the North Shore. With tickets nearly sold out already to see the star pitcher Paul Skeens take the mound, many fans are looking for other venues to enjoy the game, and the North Shore is more than ready than ever to serve them. Tom's Watch Bar has been a fan favorite since opening its doors barely a block away from PNC Park in 2023. With 80-plus TV screens and over 100 types of beers and specialty cocktails, DJs, giveaways, and more, it is known as the biggest opening day party for Pirates fans, and no tickets are needed. Mike's Beer Bar and the North Shore Tavern are another fun and popular spot for all game days in Pittsburgh. Allowing customers to flow freely between the two technically distinct but decidedly partnered businesses, it's a unique opportunity to order any of the over 500 types of beer from Mike's Beer Bar while eating the signature steak on a stone from North Shore Tavern. Located just steps from PNC Park, these two sister bars offer fans a place to meet before, during, and after the traditional opening day first pitch at 4:12 p.m., a playoff of the area code for Pittsburgh. The newest addition to the area is the Plaza at North Shore and its restaurant Sugarbird. Led by Herky Pollock, owner of the Legacy Hospitality Partners, the Plaza at North Shore aims to be the crown jewel of the region. Conveniently located at the corner of Mazeroski Way and General Robinson Street, directly across from the iconic PNC Park, the Plaza at North Shore looks to create its own legacy.
We want the Plaza at North Shore to be a place where people come on a regular basis. You can come here for yoga in the park. You can come here for a party or a corporate event. You can come here for a watch party, for a festival, for a game. You can come here for a concert. You can come here for hanging out and playing games in the park and having chicken and beer. And whatever your heart's desire, we're going to have silent disco at night. So we're trying to become part of the fabric of the North Shore. You can come here and have a great family meal or a quick bite on the way to a game or a show, or late night after you're out done partying on the North Shore. And that's Sugarbird. It's going to have great bar offerings, lots of frozen drinks, lots of great ice cream options and sundaes and things along that. North Shore is for everyone. But something special is going to happen during draft week. Draft week, we went all out. We figure that we want the eyes of the world looking at Pittsburgh and saying, oh my God, they did that. So we're going to throw 3 different entertainment performances during draft week. The first one's going to be Nelly. The second one is Steve Aoki, and the last one is 2 Chainz. So right here on this stage, right behind you, and right with this plaza right here, we're going to have 3 of the world's best performers coming to Pittsburgh, and for a very minimal amount of money, you get the opportunity to see 1 or all 3 of those in this setting, which to me is a dream come true.
And remember, sports fans, parking is going to be a problem due to construction over the preparation for the NFL draft. So get there early, carpool, whatever you have to do to enjoy all the sights and sounds of the North Shore. For Pitt to the Point, I'm David, your business tech reporter, David Cook. Back to you, Farah. Nick.
But this doesn't mark the end of our sports roundup here at Pitt to the Point.
Abroad, the Iran war continues to rage on, with Trump vowing to continue U.S. strikes yesterday for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Although there seems to be negotiations, Iran has dismissed Trump's comment that their military capabilities are incomplete.
Over 11,000 airstrikes have hit Iranian targets in just 1 month, with key military infrastructure like nuclear sites and missiles being damaged. Israel has also stated that it will continue to back U.S. strikes in the region.
Here, U.S. oil prices have continued to surge, averaging at $4 a gallon. Backpedaling to Pittsburgh, last Saturday, an estimated 15,000 people gathered around the City Council building to mark the 3rd National No Kings protest. Past rallies, which remained peaceful, happened in June and October of last year.
Protesters echoed their grievances with the second Trump administration, including the war in Iran, immigration policies, and attacks on voter rights.
I think it's important that we as Pittsburghers show our frustration with this administration.
And we are a free people now, but we want to be able to continue that.
But we still need your voices to make big changes. We need your voices.
We're pointing the finger at someone who is in control of our government right now. And it's always been. We have never been in control. We were the pawns.
Well, look at the influx of numbers we are reporting. It's almost like our stories seem to be following the law of large numbers.
Absolutely. From Pittsburgh projected to be in a double-digit million-dollar deficit, all the way to stats on the Artemis II.
I'm so honored and humbled to officially welcome you to the University of Pittsburgh.
Never in our 238-year history has a Pitt education been so much in demand. It's possible at Pitt is not just something we say when you walk in the door. Hail to each of you, hail to possible, and hail to Pitt.
This morning, you take your place in this honored tradition. You take your place in a time of great challenge and even greater opportunity.
Community comes at the cost of your comfort zone. You don't just stumble upon community in college, you create it. I hope that your journey outside of your comfort zone eventually leads you to a community that welcomes you exactly as you are. Class of 2029, whatever you're feeling right now, I hope that sometime soon you feel at home.
Thanks for tuning back into Pitt to the Point. Happen to watch a story today that piques your curiosity? Want to find out more about what's going on in Pittsburgh? Visit our website.
That's right. If you want to find out more about the world of politics, medicine, business and technology, and more, log on to pittothepoint.com.
Not only can you see clips from today's show, but you can also read about the topics that interest you and more. Check it out at pittothepoint.com.
On Monday, the University of Pittsburgh pledged $5 million over the next 5 years towards the city's investment. This money will be going towards the agenda set by Mayor Corey O'Connor.
Pitt isn't the first nonprofit to donate money to the city. It was only a few months ago in January that UPMC donated $10 million to help the city through O'Connor's plan.
Speaking on that plan, we're now going to go live to City Beat reporter Lucy Landa. We're going to see how Mayor O'Connor plans to budget our city. Lucy?
Corey O'Connor is settling into a new position, and his administration is finding things they'd like to change. Most recently, that's 2026's financial planning. But it'll take more than a few tweaks to get the city out of what they claim is tens of millions of dollars of a budgetary bind.
we have a structural deficit of about $30 to $40 million.
Pittsburgh Mayor Corey O'Connor announced he would be reopening the 2026 city budget. The O'Connor administration claims the current budget underestimates the cost of healthcare, fuel, and public works expenses, while omitting line items for certain city repairs and projects.
So, right, the city's in a challenging situation right now because we've got a change in mayors, and with that naturally comes potentially a change in priorities as well. And the new mayor inherits the departing mayor's budget, so that's already could be potentially a challenge. In this case, I think it's exacerbated because there are questions about how financially sound the previous mayor's budget was. I think there are legitimate reasons to be concerned. I also think there are legitimate reasons that, the outgoing mayor was defending the budget, saying it was defensible and reasonable.
The new administration presented their 80-plus amendment plan at a special committee meeting this past Tuesday. This plan would add $28 million in expenditures while taking $6.5 million from the city's funds to balance it out.
And our priority right now is we're going to present this body and the public with a transparent, honest budget. Then we will work together with this body, with the city controller, on what that means in terms of creating a balanced and sustainable budget. Some of those things need to be fixed right now. Homewood Pool is going to be reopening this year. The money is not budgeted for a fully operational Homewood Pool. If we want to have those assets, which the mayor does and is committed to providing our families this summer, we got to make these tough decisions.
I think if you just come in and cut, that can be challenging because there's probably not that many truly discretionary areas in the budget. And it may take some time to figure out really what we could afford for top priorities that the current mayor really wants to emphasize. So I think that takes time.
The budget will remain open until after a public hearing on April 14th. While many Pittsburghers know there is more work to be done, hope is not lost on the Steel City.
So I think the long-term future is bright. I think my reading of the current situation is that we took a big hit in COVID. It has changed the way we're working, and we may only now be fully realizing what that is and starting to respond.
City Council will take preliminary votes on these amendments during their next standing committee meeting on April 8th. For Pitt to the Point, I'm City Beat reporter Lucy Landy. Farah, Nick?
Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
On Wednesday, April 1st, history was made as Artemis II was launched, NASA's first crewed lunar flyby in 50 years.
That's right, Farah. Though it fell on April Fools, this is no prank. The Artemis II launch has been delayed for a number of times, far from its initial projected launch date of around 2019 to 2021.
The Artemis II blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center and is currently on its 10-day trip to circumnavigate the moon. Aboard it are 4 astronauts, 3 are from NASA, and 1 is from the Canadian Space Agency.
While the Artemis II will not be landing on the moon, it is planned to be the furthest mission away from Earth, beating the record currently held by Apollo 13. NASA intends for the Artemis IV to be the mission that finally puts astronauts back on the moon.
A big week in the political world. Historic flood levels hit Hawaii, as well as a change with President Trump's Attorney General. For more, we go to political reporter Jade Davis. Jade?
Change is happening in the Trump administration. Trump fires Attorney General Pam Bondi after several controversies in the Justice Department. Critics also mention her handlings of the Jeffrey Epstein files, as well as prosecution. She will also be moved to the private sector after this, and many ask what this means for the current administration moving forward. Bondi will be replaced with Attorney General Todd Blanche, and Blanche has many ties to Trump when it comes to his background with being a private attorney of President Donald Trump. Blanche has also said that there is a more aggressive approach when it comes to federal investigations, aligning with Trump's policies. And tensions also still are happening with Bondi whenever it comes to what the Justice Department will actually look like when it comes to this shift and what it means for this up-and-coming legal battles. Next, we'll be talking about Hawaii and some current flooding that's going on. There are communities underwater and a lot of crisis is going on when it comes to chaos, when it comes to farming, homes, and infrastructure. The National Guard was sent, but now there are questions about what will be happening facing widespread damage.
My name is Noelani. I'm the advocacy chair of the Asian Student Alliance, and I'm the youth director of Ka'ahalahui O'Olikona Hawaiian Civic Club of Oregon in Southwest Washington. I'm a sophomore here at Pitt, and I'm studying psych. In terms of being connected to Native Hawaiian communities, I grew up predominantly in like a Pacific Islander community back home in Oregon. Oregon is one of the states with like the largest Pacific Islander population. So I grew up like dancing hula, learning Hawaiian, and just being super immersed in my culture. But outside of that, what I've been hearing about the flooding and the things that have been impacting the islands is basically what I hear from my family, and I guess what I see from what I see and hear from other nonprofits that are on the ground in Hawaii too. When people hear 50 inches of rain, they don't, and like with the flash flooding, they don't actually imagine what that looks like. Any family or any community should have to go through what they're going through right now. I think that a lot of the response that has been actually making a difference in the community is nonprofit organizations that have been making an effort to either bring in donations to help support families that have been impacted, or helping create cleanup crews to help everyone clean up their houses. Large natural disasters have been impacting the islands, especially if we think about like the 2023 Maui wildfires. They only got FEMA funding like last week. It happened almost 2 years ago, and no, more than 2 years ago now. Yeah, it happened more than 2 years ago. It's like a lot of people had to move off of the island, move on to like the continental United States because they just didn't have the money to rebuild their homes. Federal government is supposed to be maintaining in general, and like the state government is supposed to be maintaining. I know that the governor reached out to the president for extra support. There's also this level of like holding them accountable. I think that has to be done, but I think that is also a job for the state government in Hawaii, and that they have to do a better job advocating for the islands too. Yeah, people just can't just reap the benefits of the islands.
Experts say that there are recovery efforts being made throughout the island, but it may take some time. Experts also urge Hawaiians to make sure they look out for the rainfall. For Pitt to the Point, I'm political reporter Jade Davis. Fada, Nick?
Thanks, Jade. Now, I don't know about you, Fada, but halfway through our first show, and I'm kind of getting the hang of this whole anchor thing.
Me too. Be sure to stay tuned as we talk about social media bans and our lovely academic advisors. So don't go just yet. We got some exciting stories cooking up here at Pitt to the Point after the break.
What if you had over 30,000 big thinkers and believers behind you? In a city connected to everything? Well, you'd probably find yourself doing something truly incredible.
You are why we believe it's possible at Pitt.
We each became a part of something larger than ourselves.
Paige Allen. Thank you.
This morning, you take your place in this honored tradition. You take your place in a time of great challenge and even greater opportunity.
Community comes at the cost of your comfort zone. You don't just stumble upon community in college, you create it. I hope that your journey outside of your comfort zone eventually leads you to a community that welcomes you exactly as you are. Class of 2029, whatever you're feeling right now, I hope that sometime soon you feel at home.
Congratulations, class of 2029.
With the introduction of the smartphone, social media has become a staple for many adolescents. But with growing concerns about its adverse effects, some countries are taking action.
That's right, Farah. It was just last December that Australia passed a law blocking anyone under the age of 16 from using social media. And now many other countries are following suit.
France is the second country to pass their own legislation on the matter. On March 31st, the Senate passed a law barring anyone under 15 from social media. Several other countries are in the process of creating their own laws, each a little different from the last.
As a means of enforcing these laws, Australia will be fining social media companies not in compliance upwards of $30 million US. If you plan on taking your own scheduling at the University of Pittsburgh, you'll know it's quite hectic. So this week, we're going to take a look at how the academic advisors around the University of Pittsburgh get the job done. For more, we go to Pitt Beat reporter Morgan Aurelia. Morgan?
With enrollment season being active, there is more to the picture than just students picking out their classes for the following semester. Academic advisors do way more than many students realize. We spoke to a CGS academic advisor, Krista Stokes, for more information about what all she has to do.
So during enrollment season, we meet with students on a one-on-one basis to talk about classes for their upcoming semester, possibly graduation plans. We review course checklists. In some cases, we review our remaining degree requirements, ideas for classes. We're checking emails constantly and answering questions from current students, even students outside of CGS that might want to come into CGS to pursue one of our programs. We're answering their questions about what they need to do to transfer to CGS during this busy time, requirements they need to pursue a degree or a major in CGS. We do drop-in hours as well to talk to students, both our own students and non-CGS students, and a lot of troubleshooting goes on during enrollment season. Every advisor has their own style with managing their students. I do a lot of handwriting. I'm old school, I will handwrite a lot of things in preparation for working with every student. So before I meet with everybody, I plan out what they need to do. So for example, if we're meeting on a Tuesday, on Monday, I am planning for my Tuesday meetings. And I will look at each person that I'm meeting with, new student, continuing, etc., and I will determine what are their needs. I'll review previous notes from other appointments in case I don't recall something or just to jog my memory. But I will lay out on a piece of paper for every student, what is the plan? This is what I'm seeing, this is what the student's pursuing, majors, minors, certificates, all the pieces of their individual plan, and I will map it out so that whenever we do meet and talk about what their course plans are, I know kind of what the plan is. I think what's unique as a CGS advisor is, compared to some other advisors at Pitt, is I work with students from the time they come to us in CGS to when they graduate. It is really special, I think, to see someone working with a student from that point and just seeing them grow and reach their goals and graduate. I love to see when the students graduate, not because I want you to go away and leave Pitt and all that stuff, but it's just really just to see you grow and the progression you take, that you're all the cool things you get to do, internship, study abroad, jobs, other opportunities, clubs on campus, and you talk about them and I get to hear about it. And when you graduate and you're going to do these amazing things when you're done, and just it warms my heart. And I find it really special, and maybe that's cheesy and that's okay, but it's really nice. And I like to see that part of a student's trajectory. It isn't just okay, we're done after 2 years and now I have no idea what happens. I get to see what happens at the end.
Students are encouraged and reminded to schedule a meeting with their academic advisor before their enrollment dates. This way, their academic hold can be lifted before registration. For Pitt to the Point, I'm Pitt Beat reporter Morgan Arlia. Farah, Nick?
Thanks, Morgan. Guess what time it is, Nick?
If I had to say, it'd be either time to end the show or it's time for the Pitt News.
Considering we have about 20 minutes left, it's for the Pitt News. Let's take a look at some of the stories our fellow journalist and editor friends at the Pitt News have for us this week.
Normally, the Pitt News brings you accurate and reliable information showcasing what is going on around the City of Pittsburgh as well as the University of Pittsburgh. This week, however, the staff writers of the Pitt News are in the spirit of celebrating April Fool's Day. The Society of Professional Journalists will be hosting their Sin and Win competition with college newspapers all over the country submitting their publications to win a prize of $500. The only rule of this competition is to break as many of the rules as possible. The purpose of this is to showcase just how important the ethics of journalism are by showing how bad it could be if they truly disregarded ethical standards. Some of the key ethical standards include seeking the truth and reporting it with an emphasis on being accurate and fair at all times, minimizing harm by showing compassion and awareness to those who could be impacted or affected by this news, acting independently to avoid conflicts of interest or corrupting integrity by accepting benefits from sources, and being transparent about your process of obtaining information, all while holding yourself accountable for any mistakes that could happen to ensure fairness and accuracy. All of the April Fool's stories were released this past Wednesday, including this one here from senior staff writer Sydney Kresnewski saying the infamous Panther Pit will be repurposed into student housing. The story is full of unverified information and falsified quotes with a lot of points made without context. Another story from the Pitt News editorial board claims that Carnegie Mellon has weapons of mass destruction. They also misquote Chancellor Joan Gable saying she will, quote, absolutely help us to neutralize the threat of CMU's nuclear arsenal so that all Pitt students can feel safe. You can find these stories and all of the April Fool's Day stories at pittnews.com.
The point, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at some city jazz, the Pirates opening day, and our fan favorite alumni spotlight.
That's right. So stay put in your seats as we still have a lot more to cover on Pitt to the Point.
Can you hear me?
This is interesting.
Is this on? Can y'all see me?
Do I just talk?
Pitt basketball beating WVU in the backyard brawl.
Favorite Pitt memories running out during the backyard brawl.
Pitt's a beautiful place. I'm graduating in a couple weeks. I'm really sad about it. I really am so grateful for the time I've had here.
My favorite Pitt memory was defending my thesis this year.
And ever since the first day of classes, we've been friends because we're directionally challenged.
My favorite memory was all the times I spent with my friends.
I should do it. Working on a movie with one of my good friends.
My favorite Pitt memory was winning Backyard Brawl at like the last second because I was going to leave.
Going to the Pitt volleyball games and seeing them beat Penn State and Louisville and all the people.
My favorite memory is the photo shoot we just had for the ballet club at Pitt.
My favorite Pitt memory this year was winning the backyard brawl. H2P, baby.
And I just finished my last German class and I started tearing up because after 5 years we finally did it. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorites. It's like nice out, it's beautiful, and I'm like so happy. Bye!
What if you had over 30,000 big thinkers and believers behind you? In a city connected to everything? Well, you'd probably find yourself doing something truly incredible.
We're not done with sports just yet.
For more on the Buccos, let's hear from our city sports reporter, Colin Ferguson.
Welcome back to PNC Park. Many Pitt students have lived double lives as lifelong Bucco fans, sticking with the black and gold through some fairly low lows and some very high highs. With a long 162-game season just getting underway, we gave some Pitt students and Bucco fans an opportunity to voice their opinions on the road to come.
Spring has sprung in the city of Pittsburgh, meaning it's time for Bucco baseball. The Pirates have opened their season with a record of 3-3 and now take the field at PNC Park for the first time this season and fans have high expectations for the year to come.
I think this is the best team they've had on paper since 2015. I think they've really upgraded in a lot of spots that they haven't, and they already lead the NL in home runs, so it looks like it's starting to pay off.
It's a really exciting time to be a Pirates fan. It's the most exciting time, arguably, in over 10 years.
This is probably the most I've seen Pittsburgh alive about baseball in probably the last 5 years.
A lot of different Pirates fans here on Pitt's campus voiced their opinions on a number of different players that have been outstanding for the Pirates to start the season so far. But one name kept coming up over and over and over again.
Connor Griffin.
Connor Griffin will be very similar to Paul Skeens. He will have errors. He will have games where he doesn't hit as well. I think people have to realize that he's probably going to be about a 90, 95 WRC plus player this year, but that's better than what they have at shortstop.
Lights are pretty bright for him, number one prospect. He's going to most likely be starting at shortstop now. So I'm pretty excited to see what this kid's got.
I think it was good that they called him up right away to start this opening weekend, and then, he's just going to mature.
I think the hype is real. Their division is honestly not that tough year in and year out. Their Cubs and Brewers are pretty consistently pretty good, but if they can steal a couple wins here and there from those two teams, they should have no problem.
They're 2-0 actually since hoisting the cone, so it's great. Let's hope opening weekend has, the energy the Pirates need.
Sitting on a 2-game win streak at the moment, momentum they hope to carry into tonight's home opener against the Baltimore Orioles, giving them all the more reason to hoist the cone. From Pitt to the Point, I'm once again City Sports reporter Colin Ferguson. Nick, Fada?
Thanks again, Colin.
As with every week on Pitt to the Point, we like to take some time to highlight the incredible work done by our Pitt alum.
An alumnus that is guaranteed to be the life of the party, or better yet, the initiation of said party in the first place. Let's hear from our segment producer, Raketa Livingston.
Meeting the right people on campus, and I just kind of fell in love with DJing and started DJing. So eventually I joined the college radio station, WPTS. But by the next year, I was almost running the radio station, which is really cool. And then during that time, I switched my major again to communications. And that really kind of tied everything together because it was social. It had to do with radio as far as I knew, being that young. And so honestly, man, just finding that community at the college radio station was super important to just kind of and also I think kind of predicting what was going to happen. I ended up doing radio in Pittsburgh for a while and all over the country, but it all started at WPTS, which is a really great resource, especially because, it really helped me, find my voice, which was really cool. So I was a part of a lot of extracurricular activities in Pitt. I probably excelled at that better than at class, you know what I mean? But I think that's the magic of college, right? Is yes, it is, we want to excel in the grades and get A's and all that, but also at the same time, I think there's some people who thrive in other ways, which are in groups, which is in communication. So between DJing the college parties in South Oakland and Pitt Program Council stuff, Pitt really gave me that opportunity to really start my career, which was DJing, on campus at events, and also at the same time having the radio station. And so I think it was an all-encompassing thing. I don't think education is just what you learn in the classroom. I think it's what you learn among a whole community. And so that's why I could say Pitt, as far as resources, as far as having that available, a radio station, and honestly, that really seemed impossible at the time, to be on the radio. And then, eventually meeting different people at Pitt introduced me to the hip hop scene in Pittsburgh, which ultimately led me to meet Wiz, and, kind of have that journey. So being a part of Wiz Khalifa still to this day, over, almost 2 decades, is all a product of just being in that environment at Pitt, which was really cool.
Fada, do you like jazz?
Well, is the sky blue? Jazz and Pittsburgh have been in tandem for decades. To find out more, we go to entertainment reporter Michaela Albers. Michaela?
Fundraising efforts have been proven successful for downtown jazz venue Con Alma. Jazz is a historic piece for Pittsburgh culture, and many residents say that preserving small businesses like Con Alma and others is vital for keeping jazz alive in the city.
If you're a big jazz nerd, when you hear Pittsburgh, a couple alarm bells should be going off. Pittsburgh has a very long storied history with jazz. You know, it's basically everything was here. Everyone's been through here. Everyone, you know, from Sarah Vaughan to Mary Cardwell Dawson, like literally everyone has kind of traveled through Pittsburgh. And I think a lot of that kind of went away with a lot of, you know, redlining, David Lawrence, you know, a lot of that really racist Pittsburgh history, kind of kicked a lot of black communities out, kicked a lot of, you know, that wonderful talent and that wonderful culture out of Pittsburgh. But that doesn't mean it's gone. I think that's a pretty ignorant statement to be like, oh, you know, jazz in Pittsburgh. Obviously, jazz in Pittsburgh isn't what it used to be, you know, but it's definitely still alive. It's definitely still vibrant. And what's keeping it alive is, you know, community stations like us, like WZUM, local musicians, and also places like Con Alma, MCG Jazz, you know, a lot of the local venues.
A lot of people think of New Orleans and New York when they think of jazz, but I think they forget how many greats came out of Pittsburgh. So I think small local businesses that kind of promote jazz or host it play a big role in keeping the tradition up of like Pittsburgh sound in music and keeping that alive into the modern day for, you know, modern musicians like myself who are just, you know, kind of coming up and learning how to play, to hear that and internalize it.
Part of the issue with Con Alma is that it's a restaurant, and downtown's already been struggling. This is kind of a known thing, you know, ever since post-COVID. Downtown is just not what it used to be. I think that's a pretty general statement to say. You know, they're in the restaurant business. Being in restaurant is never going to be easy for anyone. Today in the digital age, sometimes it's just hard to get people out of their homes and get people to listen and get people to try new things. And, you know, there's not one specific issue as to why Con Alma doesn't have more funding, I guess, as to why, you know, the business is kind of struggling. So I think part of it is attributed to downtown. Part of it can be attributed to less of an interest in jazz. You know, it definitely is not as popular as it used to be. It's not as prevalent in Pittsburgh, but, you know, there's still a very strong jazz kind of audience and crowd in Pittsburgh. I think it's really great that, you know, Con Alma doesn't have to permanently shut down. I think that's really wonderful. You know, again, there are jazz venues in Pittsburgh, but, you know, whenever, you know, losing a jazz venue is just never really a good sign, whether you're a jazz head or not. CUNY was able to kind of come out for Con Alma, and, you know, they had a big gala, and they've been doing fundraising, and they've had, you know, it's just been really, you know, the community kind of showed that they really do care about this place.
Con Alma continues to serve live music and food Thursday through Sunday. For Pitt to the Point, I'm entertainment reporter Michaela Albers. Farah, Nick?
Thanks, Michaela. Well, we are almost done with our show, but we still have a bit more to share with you. When we come back, our Clubbing at Pitt segment will highlight the Pitt Dance Marathon, an incredible group here at our university.
Now, I was there for the most recent PDM, and I can tell you, you don't want to miss this. We'll be back real soon on Pitt to the Point.
I am so honored and humbled to officially welcome you to the University of Pittsburgh.
Never in our 238-year history has a Pitt education been so much in demand. It's possible at Pitt is not just something we say when you walk in the door. Hail to each of you, hail to possible, and hail to Pitt.
Well, if for some weird reason you might have missed a segment from Pitt to the Point or missed the show altogether, don't fret. We have a website for that. The Pitt to the Point website is at pittothepoint.com, and it has all your favorite stories from politics to sports to entertainment, plus many, many more.
Not only can you see clips from today's show, but you can also read about the topics that interest you. On top of that, we also have exclusive articles from your favorite Pitt to the Point personalities.
That's right. And if you want to find out more about the world of politics, medicine, business, technology, and more, log on to pittothepoint.com. Go check out the website today.
The annual Pitt Dance Marathon was held on Saturday at Pitt's campus. Let's take a look at this week's clubbing at Pitt Spotlight with producer James Carter.
Marathon is the largest student-run philanthropy here at Pitt. We are a year-long fundraising effort for the UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. All year long, we are working up to our very big day, which is our 10-hour dance marathon. So we just had it last weekend on March 28th, and we broke a record-breaking $435,000 for the hospital, which was insane. Programming oversees a lot. We oversee all of the special events, which is different events we hold throughout the year that engage our staff body and the Pitt community, as well as the champion kids and families from Children's Hospital. Two of our biggest events one was in the fall. It was the carnival. We had it outside of our student union. We had kids come from the hospital. We had all different student groups come. We had food, we had games. It was just a good way to kick off the PDM year and get to see everybody and meet everybody in PDM. And then in the spring and February, we had our fashion show where kids from the hospital came and walked with different student organizations, including PDM and also our FSL teams and our external partnerships. It was a good way for the kids to get to bond with PDM staff, as well as getting a fun experience to kind of strut their stuff and show off their outfits and accessories and everything.
Without a doubt, over the past 3 years mainly, we've really built a strong connection with the board at PDM, all the members of PDM, just because the broadcast means so much to them, because it's able to show what's going on and highlight all of their events that they've done over the course of the year. I know the event started back in September when we did the carnival and filmed that. So they kind of love being able to show the people who aren't able to be at day of kind of what's going on and kind of highlight everything. But for the broadcast club, it's a really nice way for everyone to try everything. There's an 11-hour broadcast, and so there's so many different roles. So people who haven't done a role in the past, it's a great way for them to do it for the first time, because it's a long broadcast. No one's going to be tuning in for the whole time, but it's a way for them to just try things that they haven't tried before and see what they like and just get some experience.
Well, that's our show. I don't know about you, Fada, but I had a great first time sitting here in the anchor seat.
Absolutely. It is always our pleasure to leave you off with everything in and around the city and University of Pittsburgh, as well as everything in the world of sports, politics, entertainment, and business and technology.
Be sure to join us again next Friday for some new news stories.